Hey guys, welcome to the masterclass on IELTS 8 band speaking. If you are in the room, write in the chat. Let me know if you're here and where you're joining from. Let me know that as well. Also, for those of you who are already here, can you let me know if you can listen to the audio? You can see the video. Everything looks good. Let me know that as well. So I have the chat in front of me. Do write in the chat if you can hear the audio, watch the video, and everything looks absolutely smooth. Let me know if you can. All right. Thank you, Professor Tomoy. Hi, Banin Satar says hi. Hi back, Banin. Kopi says hi. Hi, Kopi. Numan Ahmed said all okay. Lovely to hear that, Numan. Thank you for your message. Talha Khan said hi from Islamabad. Everything is good. Thank you, Talha, for joining. And Nice Boy says it's fine. Thank you, Nice Boy. Hassan, everything is smooth. I love it. 20 of you have already joined. I love these ones because you guys are before time. We've just started right on time and you guys are here. Hi Gulsher, hi Lukman, hi Luguwa, and hi Asma. How are you guys doing? Do write in the chat where you're joining from as well. Maybe your city, your country. Tahreem has said I'm audible as well. Thank you, Tahreem. Also, guys, do take your notepad with you. This is gonna be a power-packed session. I cannot wait to share all we have for this masterclass. So you guys are going to love it. Salman Hussain is joining from India. Janesh is joining from Janesh said hi. Gulsher is joining from Hyderabad, Pakistan. Talha is asking me that he's telling he's very excited and he's asking where I'm from, and I am in Australia at the moment in Melbourne. Numan is joining from Lahore, and Ma says hello, and Nice Boy is joining from Islamabad as well. Okay, this is amazing. Dinushka has joined from Sri Lanka as well, and we have one from Kuwait as well. Lovely. So guys, very, very, very welcome for this IELTS 8 band speaking. As I said, bring your notebook, bring your notes. It's gonna be a power pack session. You guys are gonna absolutely love it. Let me jump straight into it with our slides for the program as well. For those of you who might know me from few years, I started my journey with Australia Yours, which was my first brand when I moved to Australia, and I started sharing my experiences with the audience of how you guys can make a life in Australia, get Australian PR, ACE IELTS, PTE, CV writing, so on and so forth. Maybe you guys might have seen Australia Yours from 2017 to 2019, roughly, when I was mainly running this Australia Yours, and it became the largest read blog for the South Asians in Australia. And then from there onwards, the journey evolved, and I grew. 1,000+ students joined, and I evolved into Ultimate Academy, which is where you guys are joining me in 2022. And we are coming to the end of 2022, so it is very, very exciting because I really hope that this masterclass becomes an inflection point in your life, that 2023 becomes the year that you've always wanted, that it becomes the year you finally nail your IELTS for Canada, for Australia, for UK, for whichever country you've been waiting for. So as you can see here, I run Ultimate Academy. I have about 2,500+ students for my courses on Ultimate Academy, and on the Udemy as well. You guys can go and check me out. I have 21,000+ students, and there is a lot of things going on. But chances are that some of you might be following me on the socials as well. I have been giving a lot of trainings across Southeast Asia, across Australia, across India, Pakistan, and a lot of those trainings have been in person, and a lot of those trainings have been online as well, as you can see here. And these trainings range all the way from digitalization to speaking, coaching, to content creation, and a lot more subjects in between as well. On the socials, here I am on Instagram and TikTok, about 30,000 followers on Instagram, 90,000 almost on TikTok. You guys might be following me there, and that's how you might have known about this masterclass as well. Either way, I am very, very excited for you to join me. But the larger question becomes, why IELTS? What is it? Is it just an exam? Honestly, it's not. In 2017, when I got my Australian PR and I was able to move here in Australia, live here as a resident, everything changed. IELTS is not just an exam for PR. I see IELTS and PTE, these exams where you are able to get admission in your dream universities and PRs for your dream countries, whether that's Australia, Canada, or anywhere in the world. This is a passport to a life of freedom, because then you don't have to be on employer's pass. You don't have to be on tourist visa. You can live in any country you want to. And for me, that means chasing adventures around the world. So currently I shift between 6 months in Australia and 6 months adventuring around new countries. The reason I wanted to share this slide with you guys is the fact that for me, this journey, when I see you attending IELTS masterclass, trying to ace IELTS, I know it does not mean a stupid exam that you want to ace. It is way beyond that. It means to start the dream life that you've been waiting for. And it starts with your whichever country's PR you are trying to get, because that means higher income rates, better living conditions, more freedom to travel, better support for the family, and whatever it is. So I understand that, because this has been my journey for the last 5 years, and I know I've seen thousands of students. Some of those I'll show you the testimonials as well later in today's presentation. I know what it means to nail IELTS. Whether that's 7 band plus, whether that 8 band plus, this is going to be that course for you. So let's get into it. What is it that you are going to learn today? This masterclass is specifically on IELTS speaking. And in the IELTS speaking as well, we are going to focus on some of the critical elements that I hope you can take with you today and basically take your IELTS exam as soon as possible and have an overnight increase of 0.5 to 1 band in your IELTS speaking course. So we're going to be learning the mindset, some hacks that will help you in IELTS speaking, a smart strategy that will finally make part 2, where you have to answer for 2 minutes on a topic, easy for you. And of course, I will also share about my full program, Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS, which is what I've been sharing so far. 2,500 plus students of Ultimate Academy has taken, and I'll show you some testimonials as well. You will love all what is inside the course. So shall we start? Are you ready? Say yes in the chat if you guys are here. Oh, lovely, 70 plus viewers so far live, and we've people joining from Karachi and Punjab and Islamabad, Sri Lanka, Lahore, Swat. I love it. So many of you guys are here today, and I know it is post office time and post university time for most of you at 5. It is 11 p.m. here in Australia. I love that emoji. From Shakina, Afra says yes as well. We are ready to bounce. Okay, before we get into the 5 hacks to 8 IELTS speaking, let's talk about even larger thing, the mindset. What is the IELTS speaking mindset that will finally change how you have been perceiving IELTS speaking all this time? My hope is that once I share these mindsets with you, you are able to look at IELTS speaking as not something that you get nervous with, not something that, oh my God, I have to enter that room where that examiner is going to be judging me, and then I don't know what to speak. Am I gonna come confident? Should I go in, shake hands first? Should I make an eye contact? Should I look at the wall? Should I look this? Does my accent matter? And all that stuff. All that is secondary. What is the most important thing? I want you to look at the IELTS examiner as your chai or a coffee meetup with an unknown person that you're meeting for the first time in your life. And your goal is to tell that person, about your thoughts, about your interest, about your opinions on different things, as if that person really wants to know you better. That's it. There isn't going to be any examiner in your mind, no judgments. It's not like the person will be sitting there with the pen in their hand and they'll be, listening to me as like, okay, +5 for vocabulary, +7 for fluency, -3 for grammar, so on and so forth. Nothing like that. All that is a recipe for disaster. Well, let's say you meet me and we schedule a video call. How will you talk to me? Talking to me will not result in any IELTS score. It's not an examiner. So what you'll be doing with me is that you'll be talking to me as if you are connecting with a new person. And let's say I ask you about where do you live, and you'll be answering me where do you live, and you'll tell me with the perspective that you really want me to know. Like, for example, if you tell me I live in Sydney, that really means you really want me to know that you live in Sydney. It's not like I live in Sydney, but in your head it's going on, is that person judging me? Was I fluent in saying Sydney? Was I grammatically correct? Nothing like that. Forget all about that. This is going to be your playground. You're going to go into the IELTS exam and you're going to look at the examiner and you're going to look at just another person who you're meeting over a chai or a coffee, and the goal is to tell that person where you from, what do you do, and be excited about that. That's your audience. That person, although they will show that they are like so strict and all that stuff, and they're there not to give you any nods or anything, because they're trained for that. But in your head, next time you're going to take your IELTS speaking, you're going to look at the person and you're going to be like, this is the person I'm going to tell all about myself. And you will see that the entire pressure will be lifted off you. You will start enjoying it so much that when my IELTS speaking was due, the night before, I was at a friend's birthday party and we went all in until 3 a.m. There was music, there was dance. Next day, 7:30, I had to be at the venue, but I was enjoying it. What was I doing at the party? I was socializing. I was talking to people. There were new people there as well. I was networking them. I was asking them about their lives. I was telling them about my life. There was absolutely no pressure of what the structure is, what the format is. All that is secondary. 80% of the game is in the mind. And that starts with the mindset that I'm going to talk to that person and tell them about myself, my opinions on things, my background, and whatever I am. There is no right and wrong. There is no like, is my opinion on education right or wrong? Is my opinion on climate change right and wrong? Nothing like that. My opinions are my opinions. I'm going to tell them confidently. So that's the larger mindset I want you guys to take. With that, let's dive into the 5 hacks we have for IELTS speaking. The first is simple over complex. So many of you and so many YouTube videos and so many different instructors focus on the grammar and the vocabulary and creating complex sentences. The truth is, to get 8 band in IELTS speaking, you need to have just basic grammar and basic vocabulary that is an everyday use of vocabulary. You don't need anything else. But what you do need is a perfect structure to deliver those things in a very simple manner. So for example, what does it say? Simple over complex. What does it mean? It means that if you're asked anything, any question, for example, tell me about your town, where you're from, or what do you like about your town, or what do you like about your work? You can just use short sentences with pointers, as simple as that. For example, hi, I am from Melbourne. Melbourne is the 2nd largest city in Australia, and I love the weather here. That's it. Very simple, point by point. You can go like, what is it that you do, or do you like your work? Don't try to focus on ands and conjunctions and connecting sentences and going like, what do you have to say that I really like my work because the last time the boss was very nice, and so on and so forth. Nothing like that. What is the simplest answer that comes to the mind? It is this. I am the founder of Ultimate Academy. There are 3 things I do. I create courses on IELTS and PTE. I have speaking calls with my students and I coach them in speaking confidence. and I create content on the social media. That's it. Very simple. Everything has to be point by point. Simplest. The answers I'm giving you has no high vocabulary word, no complex sentence formation. It's simplest. And this is the exact thing I used to got 8 in my speaking as well, and 8.5 in my entire IELTS, which I don't know anyone back in the day who was able to get 8.5 even without not being a native English speaker, because I completely deconstructed the IELTS, reassembled it to make it the most simple way where I don't have to learn any difficult vocabulary words or any such thing. Hack number 2 I have for you is called fluency does not mean fast. This is going to change your game. All this time you've been thinking that native English speakers are fluent. If you're not in Australia or Canada, you might be thinking that Canadians speak fluent English or Australians speak fluent English. That's not true. They speak fast English. There's a difference between fluent and being fast. If you listen to the top people in any field, and who are they? They are the leaders, the politicians. Listen to Barack Obama. Listen to whoever the prime minister is in your country. Chances are they are so charismatic that they are able to have large following, follow them whenever they are giving a speech. And then listen to them how they speak. They are very, very slow. Fluency is actually slow, but it is thinking first and then speaking. So whatever has been your speed so far in IELTS speaking, thinking that if I be fast, I'll come across as fluent, this is the time to throw that mindset out of the window. From now onwards, embrace being slow. If you are asked anything, what is the sport that you like to play? Instead of saying, I like to play cricket, it's a very famous game in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, we won the World Cup, and it's instead of going in this manner, pause, take a breath, and go slow. I love cricket. Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and other South Asian nations, they are very good in cricket. It is the most popular sport in my country. And the last time we won World Cup, the entire country celebrated. Very, very slow. So your goal from now onwards is to embrace slowness. Now you can see the pattern, right? Simple over complex, which is right words, no complex sentences, no high vocabularies, just structure, 1, 2, 3, and then slow. And you're already getting very, very, like if with these two, you're already there. You already are coming across as a confident English speaker, even when you're not a native English speaker. Move on to the third of the hacks that we have, and it is accent does not matter. This is very important because a lot of people I've seen, and at this point I have done video coaching with 150 plus students. So many students come with the mindset that they have to try to speak in British accent, American accent, Australian accent, all that is in your mind. In English, accent does not matter because no matter which country you are in, the examiners there are trained to mark you in the accent of that country. If you're taking the test in India, you have to have an Indian accent. In Pakistan, need to have a Pakistan accent. Middle East, need to have a Middle East accent. Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan. Bangladesh, Bangladesh accent. That is important. If you are in a different country and then you might be like, oh, what if the examiner doesn't understand me and all that stuff? That is all in a completely different country. It's not a job interview. None of that matters. What matters is that even if the examiner in your country is a non-native person, might be from a British council, might be from England or somewhere, that person is trained to understand your accent, to get better in speaking, because again, structure matters the most. Being fluent matters the most. Fluent means thinking first and speaking. You have to take accent out of the picture. You can have any accent in the world. If you're slow, you're going to be perfect. And that's the goal for 8 band plus speaking. Don't try to imitate any other accent. Don't try to fake it. And fourth is one of my favorite hacks in IELTS. And this is tell, don't speak. Now take a pause here and think of the last conversation you had with your friend in your native language. How was it? Maybe you guys were talking about the recent Spider-Man movie. Think of it in your native language. What would it be? The conversation would be something like where you are telling the other person something. Right? You're like, did you see that happen in the, so I'm going to say it in English, but imagine that you being saying it in your own language. Do you know how that there were 3 Spider-Mans in the last movie. This movie became so good and Tom Holland was so funny. And so like you're telling the other person. You're not just speaking into the wall like the last Spider-Man movie was very good. There was like 3 Spider-Mans in it and Tom Holland was very funny as well. That's not how you talk to your friends, right? You tell them. You don't speak, you tell. And what does telling mean? Telling means that naturally the body and the hands and the head just follows through. There are natural pauses in it, right? So you're telling something. Why? Because you're waiting for the other person to absorb the things that you're telling. You're not looking at the wall and speaking just because you have to be fluent. You're not looking at there. You're not looking down. Look at the examiner as a friend who you're going to tell everything that they ask you. If they ask you, what are your weekends like? You tell them that, normally I don't really get much time on the weekends, but when I like to cook at home. So every weekend at the breakfast, I really try to cook. So the last time I cooked sausage sandwiches and I made some mint margarita with it. So you know what is happening here? You're really telling the examiner like you tell your friends, and you will never have to worry about fluency again if you are focused on telling. If you are speaking, then to a wall, to the roof, down there, then you'll have to worry about, how you're looking like. But telling is like almost looking at the examiners is like, yeah, like, can you understand, right? I have these opinions about the climate change, or this is why I like my city. Tell them like you're telling in the native language, and that's the mindset shift that's going to change your speaking. And finally, tonality is the secret key. What this does is that tonality differentiates good speakers from great speakers. And I know this takes a while to pick up, and I'll give you an example of it. But the reason I want to share with you it, and of course I understand that without feedback it might be slightly difficult to pick it up, but this is again we do, as I'll share with you about the speaking call as well later. In my one-on-one speaking calls with my VIP IELTS, Ultimate IELTS students, I do speaking calls and we focus on the tonality. What is tonality? Tonality is emphasizing on the words with the emotions. What tonality does is that it creates a visual image in the mind of the speaker. So you are in the mind of the listener. So you are a listener at the moment, right? Let me give you an example. So if I tell you, Australia has extremely beautiful beaches versus Australia has extremely beautiful beaches. What was the visual in your head when I said extremely beautiful? Suddenly, by emphasizing on the word extremely, your mind created a visual about beautiful beaches. Or, for example, the weather was really cold yesterday. Doesn't feel cold if I say it like that. But the weather was really cold yesterday. Now suddenly that really has made it feel like the weather, you can almost feel the cold, right? You can say that my office is quite far from my home. If you can say that far doesn't create any visual in the head of the listener. But if you say my office is quite far from the home, suddenly office starts feeling like it's far. So one of the tonal patterns is emphasizing on the words like very, extremely, far, beautiful, precious, anything like that, rare, amazing, splendid. Emphasizing on the words suddenly create tonality that makes you come across in the listener's mind as a very charismatic speaker. Suddenly the examiner, although they're not even realizing, because nobody tells this is the secret hack. This is the secret hack where even without being a native English speaker, you come across as very charismatic English speaker. And this goes far beyond just IELTS speaking. You can test it in your conversation with friends, in the meetings, in your job interviews. Just add tonality and suddenly the person will be like, oh my God, you are so charismatic. You'll suddenly start getting all those comments from your friends and your dates and your interviews that you are so charismatic. The difference, the charisma has nothing to do with accent, nothing to do with speed. It has only to do with tonality. And of course, there are other tonal patterns. For example, you can change the speed of the sentence. So you're saying something and suddenly you go slow. And when you go slow, that creates an emphasis. Or if you want to tell something which is very important, you go in a loud voice. But then if you want to tell something which is even more important, what do? You whisper. You go even low. And this shift in tonality creates that image in the listener's head that you are talking about something very important. And I know this, as I said, this is what differentiates great speakers from the good speakers. You can still get very high 7-8 band in IELTS speaking without tonality, but getting the tonality right will give you that extra kick, extra half a mark or a mark without even the examiner realizing why, because you are coming across as a charismatic English speaker for them. And of course, as I said, it takes a bit of practice to get the tonal patterns right. We practice that in the Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS course as well, which I'll share later with you guys. So this is, in a nutshell, are the 5 speaking hacks that I wanted to mention. Simple over complex, fluency does not mean fast, accent does not matter, tell, don't speak, and tonality is the secret key. The other thing we wanted to discuss today was the SMART strategy for speaking part 2, because speaking part 2 is where most of you struggle. Let's get into it. You see, in the speaking part 2, the biggest problem is 2 minutes on a random topic. How will you speak? And let me give you the truth. Nobody can speak on any random topic for a 2 minute in any structured manner. It's not possible. I've done this now hundreds and hundreds of times with students for my own practice tests and so on and so forth. If you give me a random topic, okay, Waqas, tell me about your opinion on climate change. Go. And suddenly I'll be like, okay, climate change, let me think. Climate change is real. So, I'll be all blank, right? This is what happens. So if you think that you are struggling with speaking part 2, you're not the only one. Nobody, no matter how much English practice has been there, nobody can speak on speaking part 2. But with the SMART strategy that I'm going to share, you will be able to. And what is that? That is that you are going to, in your mind, cut the speaking part 2 into 4 questions. Each of these questions has to be answered for 30 seconds. What is 30 seconds? 3 to 4 lines. So suddenly, in your mind, you will practice. And again, you'll practice. You can practice on your own as well. You can take about 10 different questions on the Google of this, for the speaking part 2 and practice in your mind with the camera on this technique that I'm going to share with you. Or of course, we will do that as well if you sign up for the one-on-one coaching for the IELTS speaking. But here is what is happening. In your mind, look at a question that you get and look at the 4 prompts. Those 4 prompts down there under the question that you get in the speaking part 2 are not there to guide you. No, those are not guide markers. Those, look at them as 4 independent short questions. And each of those questions you have to answer in 3 to 4 lines. That's it. It suddenly becomes part 1, right? Short question, 3-line answer. Short question, 3-line answer. For example, let's look at a question which is describe a sport you'd like to learn. Name of the and if you tell me to describe a sport you'd like to learn and give me a minute to practice, I'll be like, I don't know, what do I have to talk about it? I'll not even look at the question. What will I do? I will look at the 4 short prompts and look each of them as a mini question. You get 1 minute, you open the notepad, you take on your pen, and for each of these 4 short questions, you write 2 small pointers. For example, name of the sport, cricket. Why everyone in my street plays it. What equipment is needed, bat and ball, pads and helmet. How would you like to learn it? Join a cricket club or play with friends, whatever comes naturally to you. What would you do after? I will join the cricket league. It will help me develop friendships. That's it. This is literally in 1 minute, this is what you're going to do. You'll train yourself to look at these 4 questions as 4 part 1 questions that only has to be answered for 3 lines each. So for example, let's do it live. Describe a sport you'd like to learn. Timer starts 2 minutes. Never even try to think of what 2 minutes are like, how many lines I have to speak, am I speaking for very long, has 2 minutes have passed, have 1 minute has passed, none of that. Instead, just blank your mind and focus on name of the sport. So my mind is now telling me I have to talk about cricket and I have to talk about 3 to 4 lines for cricket. So name of the sport, I would like to learn cricket. Why? Because when I was growing up, everybody in my street played cricket and I always wanted to join them and become good at cricket. That's it. Literally, nothing more. Very simple, 3 lines and you're done. You look at the second question, you like equipment needed for it. You look at the examiner and you tell them, as we've been learning in the speaking hacks, you tell them. It's like, so in cricket, there are actually a lot of equipment. You need pads, gloves, wickets, pitch, even a ground. But I think I'm going to start from a very basic, and the basic 2 things you need for cricket are bat and a ball. So I am thinking I will go to the local sports shop this weekend and I'll buy bat and a ball so I can start my cricketing journey. That's it. 3 to 4 lines, you've already answered the point about equipment needed for it. Telling the examiner about it, not speaking for 2 minutes. Then you look at the third question on your sheet and you're like, how would you learn it? And then you look at the prompts that you've practiced in 1 minute and you're like, I'm just going to speak for 3 minutes, right? For 3 sentences. How would you learn it? Sentence number 1. I am thinking that I will be learning cricket by joining a local sports club in my neighborhood. Sentence number 2. I am a working professional, so I have time in the evenings or on the weekends. I am thinking I will look at if they have weekday evenings, so I'll join for 2 days a week and maybe on a Sunday. That's it. Literally 2 or 3 lines and you're done. And then you look at the last question and you'll be like, what would you do after you have learned it? So you again look at your practice and you're like, what are the 3 sentences I can say? After I have learned cricket, I would like to join my office cricket team because they play against other office cricket teams. By doing so, I will be able to form new friendships. And since I'm in a career profession, this might help me to get better job opportunities or career opportunities as well. And that is why I would like to learn cricket. So suddenly this speaking part 2 has gone from being a 2-minute speaking randomly on a topic to answering 4 prompts in 2 to 3 lines each. Once you complete it, you might have spoken for 1.5 minutes. You might have spoken for 1 minute 40, 1 minute 50. It does not matter. You have spoken and given a complete answer. Always remember, giving a complete answer with a complete ending, which was, that is why I'd love to learn cricket, is better than speaking for 2 minutes and being stopped by the examiner. Not because you'll have any marks deducted in that way that you'll be like, oh my God, I lost a mark, but mostly because the examiner will know that your thinking is so sharp and so structured that you were able to think about the entire question in your head, formulate the structure, deliver it, and stop. So you come across as again a very, very structured English speaking. And getting the structure right is an 8-band secret. Not getting the vocabulary, grammar, and all of that is if you want to go to the 9-band, get a full in speaking. Forget about that. I have the most basic vocabulary in the world, most basic grammar in the world. But with all these strategies of getting the structure right, speaking while thinking, using tonality, I got 8.5 in my speaking. I got 90 out of 90 in my PTE, and I have been across the world giving talks and speaking coaching and so on and so forth, as I was showing you in the first few slides of this presentation. With that, we have come to the end of this masterclass part of the speaking hacks and the smart strategy for speaking 2, part 2. But of course, there is so much more to IELTS. There is so much more. The part 1 of speaking, part 3 of speaking. What are some of the ways you can answer these 4 questions in a way that they become easier for you? How do you structure? How do you speak on any topic? So on and so forth. And then there are reading, listening, writing, all of that. What I have done in the last 4 years is I've deconstructed and I've trained at this point in time more than 2,500 students in IELTS. So I would love to share with you guys a little bit about it. I run a cohort-based program on IELTS, which is called Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS. And this December cohort closes on 11th of December. And I will share the link with you in next slide. But before that, what you do get in this is all 4 modules in much more detail than a small trailer that we got for IELTS speaking, which again is so value adding that even if you just internalize these 5 hacks and the part 2 strategy and you give your IELTS speaking tomorrow, you're going to increase your speaking by 1. But in the all 4 modules, in just the same way, for the writing hacks and strategies for each part, and the readings, every single question, how to answer that. Then there will also be vault of essays, 100 plus essays that I've checked over the last 4 years with the markings of what is right, what is wrong that you can learn with, and recordings of speaking interviews of so many VIP students as well you will get. And of course, if you sign up for the VIP package, you'll also get unlimited writing task reviews one-on-one, where I will personally check every single essay or report or letter of you and give you feedback and arrange a speaking call with you so we can practice one-on-one for your IELTS speaking. And of course, you'll have lifetime access to it, so you can take as much time as you'd like. I would love to share some of the students whose life have been changed. You can keep reading here on the screen. I will come back as well, my video. But you can see here that Jagdev got 7, 8.5, 7.5, 7.5, and he's extremely happy with the Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS. Amir is saying that, he just wanted to write and didn't want even a reply back, just telling me how I have helped him achieve 9 in all IELTS band. Then Afzal is like, he has never seen a trader like the Amar Bay. My buddy from Punjab wanted it for Canadian Express entry, got 8777. Rosetta says, it hasn't been months of tortures, endless studying, and a disheartened spirit when she's finally been able to nail IELTS. Then Sandeep Bora, both him and his wife, they were able to score high and make their dream of getting PR true. Same with Ashia as well. She as well, both of them wanted to give, she and her husband, and they also were able to score their dream score in IELTS. These are just some of the hundreds and hundreds of testimonials at this point. You can read more about it where? Right here. So I have sent this link below the video as well. ultimate.academy/courses/IELTS. Right in the description of YouTube video, you can click here as well, or you can just take a screenshot here, visit ultimate.academy, and you'll be able to see courses on IELTS. You can go through all the details I've written on the website, what you're gonna find in the program, table of contents, each video, the duration of each video, the two packages, ultimate package and VIP package. You can find everything. Do know that it is cohort based, so this intake closes on 11th of December, which is 5 days from now, and then next one will open somewhere in February, because I take students at one point in time and then checking their essays, going through them, taking them through the course, doing one-on-one coaching. It takes 2 to 3 months every single cohort, so I tend to take somewhere between 30 to 50 students every single cohort, and then it's either 2 months or 3 months before the next intake opens. So do check it out. If you have been struggling with your IELTS, because this is why your PR has been stuck for Canada, for Australia, for UK, for any other country, whether it's a student admission, whether it's your PR, I know what it means for you. And especially in 2020 and 2021, with borders closing, examinations getting delayed, PRs getting stopped, I know what you've been waiting for. And 2022, because I've been seeing the traffic on my website and the students who have been writing to me, so many people, thousands of people have been waiting for 2022 after the 2 year of COVID and no more PRs and travel and so on. And now in 2022, I know what it means and how much you might have taken IELTS once, you might have taken IELTS 5 times and you've been struggling with it. This is going to be the last time you take IELTS, I assure you that. And 2023, I want it to be the year where you finally make your dreams come true of going to your dream country, whether that's Canada, Australia, or UK. And I want to be there to help you in that. Do ask me any questions you want in the chat as well. I will be here for another 5 minutes. You could be ask questions about Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS program. Again, I will reduce my video so you can see ultimate.academy/courses/IELTS, but you can also see it in the link description. I will also send this in the email as well. So if you are watching this as a replay or live right now, you will be receiving an email with the link as well. And there's just 5 days left before this intake closes. So do take it seriously. Write to me. I am reading and replying to every single email as well. Mohammed Daud has said in the chat that very informative. Thank you, Mohammed Daud. Maz has said that arrange a masterclass for writing as well. Of course, I will be arranging a masterclass for writing as well. Maybe next month or maybe month after that. We'll see. But again, just wanted to emphasize that in the masterclass, the goal is to give you guys mindsets and strategies that you can take and change your score by half to 1 band overnight. And that is, with the speaking things that we've learned, you'll be able to do it. But to get everything from score up overall in writing, speaking, reading, and listening, it won't be possible to cover because the course takes 14 hours. It's 87 video lessons on every single topic. Let me know in the reply to the email as well as in the messages or on the Ultimate Academy website if you have any questions. I'll be talking to you over the email for the next 5 days, and I hope to see you nail IELTS this December, and if not, January. See you, and I hope this was informative for you. And again, you will be receiving the recording of it as well. Have a beautiful rest of the year.